you hear that sound? That's the shanthem, the actual other shanthem. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to RHAP's coverage. Australian Survivor, Australia v World. I'm your host, Shannon Guss. But through the preseason, we got through the year-long preseason. We're in the season. We are in the season. We have watched episode 1 of the most iconic season in Global Survivor history. It lived up to the hype. For me, I had chills, literal chills, and I'm here to talk with someone I'm always so happy to talk to, but especially about this. It's Chappell. Well, thank you.
Shannon, thank you for having me. I'm so happy I get to be here to kick off this coverage with you. Shannon, the only thing I can compare this to is the intro of Heroes versus Villains, season 20 of our US Survivor. You and I have talked about that very episode and that season of television for 6 hours one time.
It was 7.5 hours.
Forever, for like a day and a half, for an entire work day, we talked about it. And this gave me that same feeling. It gave me the same exact feeling that I get when I watch that. The intros, the people, I was stressed from minute 1 to the entire episode. There was never a time where I wasn't like tense or just like jumping out of my seat. It was crazy. I love this so much. If you didn't enjoy this, we are not the same type of person. This is like, you shouldn't come here for Chappell days, because I am loving this already.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Heroes versus Villains, because I was gonna say, and I'll probably tweet it, that if I had a nickel for every time a swimsuit top came down in an opening challenge that featured Suri and Parvati, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. This definitely had the vibe of Heroes versus Villains. Like, there's like the movie, right? That's the iconic movie we always talk about with US Survivor. And this was like, this was War of the Worlds. It was so cool. And the season is not long enough for me to get over it. Like, I don't know if I'd ever get over it, but I'm certainly not getting over it in the 3 weeks we have to watch this season. Like, if Suri makes the finale, I'll still be there. Like, I can't believe Suri's on Australian Survivor. I was like, just to get the Tonys and the Suris and the Parvs back on Survivor. And it's my Survivor. It's my Survivor, the one I invented. And this was it kind of almost feels like it kind of is. Like, and that's staying true of so many of our listeners, where there was so much, there was just so much great stuff there. And one of the things I love about Winners at War, which I know is a hotter take, but I love like the kind of reverence for the fans and all of these moments about the players and like the history, because that's one of my favorite things about Survivor, beyond like the stats and the strategy. Well, I guess it is stats, is like the history and the culture and like the canon of the show. And there was so much of that here. Like, again, like kicking off with the shanthem. Now, for the people who don't know what the shanthem is, who didn't watch Heroes versus Villains of Australia, they had it in Shawnee's preview before the season. It's that you can hear it. It's like the it's like that operatic thing. And they played it when she was doing a blindside and all of the cool Shawnee moments. And then they played it when she got blindsided. First moment she comes out in this season on the tarmac, they play it again. We got Lisa's tick. For people who don't know, there's a gif of it on Twitter that Lisa did the bucket list tick. That was her thing on Survivor New Zealand as a superfan living her dream. There were so many things here. Everyone was so on point. We got the Suri giggle. We got Parvati, all of Parvati's like Black Widow shenanigans. We got Kirby being so Kirby. We got Kirby being like, Shawnee's like, I want to work with you. And she's like, why? Kirby's like, why? And I'm like, why? Kirby's back. You know, like it was, everyone was, this is the Avengers of Survivor Global. And it fed the fan in me in a way that I think you can't really have asked a lot more of. And I don't know if it's just the hype. Are we overhyping it? Like, obviously, the world and Australia v. the world have not seen this yet. So I don't know how it'll be received. But I have to think well, because I freaking loved it.
I love this so much. You know, like leading off with Shawnee just goes to show that they know what they got. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could have started this with anybody, and you have Shawnee on a literal runway, like on an airplane, walking. Yeah. And she's like, I need a new Birkin bag. She doesn't even talk about like gameplay. She's like, I'm here because I need money. I need a bag. I need a dress. Like that's what you want from Shawnee. All these iconic intros, a couple people kind of got glossed over.
Well, one person. Who would you say?
Sarah
didn't get a confessional.
They didn't really talk about Sarah. I'm talking about even just in the intro. They just kind of like a mastermind and just went on back to Janine, I think, at that point, and Kirby. Not a lot of Sarah, but
No, well, the only people who I think didn't get anything in that intro were Suri, and Sarah actually was Suri. But then Suri later gets her iconic, confessional, and they go back and show the Eric vote, so no complaints. I do have the one complaint, the small complaint of like, you have 85 minutes, you have 14 players who are icons since 2017 for Sarah. Like, Sarah was the one who was snubbed in this episode. That's my one complaint. Otherwise, they actually did a really good job with 14 people, showing 13 of them, I think, pretty well.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the intro so much. It got me hyped. I think they gave, with the exception of, a few things, they gave people their time, and they really kind of highlighted why they are here. Even when they're talking about the godmother of negotiation, I'm like, that's Janine. Oh my God. Like, they brought in George, they got in David, they got Luke, and then they're like, in the truck or whatever, and I get it, because this is AU World. Of course, there's only one winner, but they are really setting up a thing that we don't get a lot on US Survivor anymore, which is team versus team. Like heroes versus villains works. I say it works from beginning to end. David versus Goliath works. I don't think Millennials versus Gen X really works the way it should, but I like when they have, like, although there can only be one winner, we are still fighting against each other for whatever reason. And so we really got to see both the teams squad up. The one issue I have with this is that I would have loved to see the moment that Suri and Lisa saw each other for the first time. Like the moment Lisa, I just needed that sight of like Lisa being there and then Suri walking out. Like, that's what I needed. But the show, it's like they heard me say it. And then, like, a few scenes later, we get Lisa and Suri in the forest, and Lisa being like, all right, I gotta tell you, I love you. I was like, yes, Lisa!
Yeah.
And Lisa did what needed to be done. She did what we all talk about doing, what we all dream about doing. We say, if Suri is there, you go to Suri, you throw yourself at her mercy, and you say, Suri, it's me and you to the end. And it's like Lisa was just speaking for all of us. Like, yes, Suri, mother, mom, queen, it's me and you, baby. F all these other people, let's do it. And I was like, what else could you ask for?
I have so much. Lisa was our proxy so hard. Peter was like, this is you. She's crying. She's 100% correct. It's amazing. No notes. So a couple of behind the scenes things here that I think are really interesting, because Peter and I were just talking about how we would have loved to see Lisa see Suri. And the reason for that is because Suri was not actually meant to be in the season. The rumors were that Suri was not on the season, actually. Oh. And I spoke to Lisa about that before the season. And she was like, why is Suri not on the cast? And I was like, it's a terrible decision. And as far as I'm aware, that is what Lisa thought when going out. I don't know when she would have found out that Suri was on, but I do think that would have been an incredible, incredible moment. Like, as she said, like, the realization of a dream to play with Suri. And another thing that I think is so interesting is David blindsided all of them in that truck. Like, unless they like saw from the preseason, I strongly believe that those cast pictures are edited, like, especially because they all like see them for the first time, unless they like took those before the challenge, like they edited those pictures so that they put them all together. I really believe that. But they didn't know that David was going to be there. There was a blindside moment that would have happened at some point, and maybe it was in that truck because David signed on really late, right after Dondie. So having him in the truck as a surprise, when I think the rest of the cast was like probably pretty well known. I was like, this is a moment as well. But that whole opening sequence, as you said, was so good. Luke in the bag, George with the crown through security. There was so much good stuff. Like, everyone was giving. It was absolutely wonderful. It has me talking in like Gen Z speak, as you could, but I'm just living for it, like it's incredible. I thought it was so good. I thought that episode was really funny. I love when Survivor is funny. They picked a lot of really funny players. And there was a lot of humor. I'm always going to laugh when Suri laughs, but it's not just that. I thought there was a lot of really, really good stuff there of everyone just being so on point. The opening sequence was like how Australian Survivor does it, unlike anyone else, in these epic ways, in a really unique way where we're seeing people go through Samoan security. Like that's like a set moment that we don't get in US Survivor, and it's different to anything we've had in Australian Survivor even. So that it felt really special. It felt really epic. We know that Australian Survivor does things in a really epic way. And seeing those moments of like Tony's backstory and all of that, wonderful. It really was for all of us, I feel. Yeah.
And then we, of course, see JLP, which, this is a topic that has been talked to death, especially on this podcast. So I can't talk too much shit. But, like, this is the swan song of JLP. This is going to be the last time we see him host Survivor. And it feels like, although it's very sad, that I'm sorry, I wouldn't even pick Jeff Probst for this. This is JLP's spot. This is where I want to see him. He knows these people. He knows the buttons to push. He's an incredible host, and if he's got to go out, to me, this is where he's supposed to go out. This is the way amongst the legends. These are his peers, as far as I'm concerned, in Survivor history. You could be a U.S. Survivor fan, but the moment you go and watch SurvivorAU, it's very clear why this man was able to host the show for a long time. And I do think that just seeing him here kind of put a bow on, his entire journey, even through episode 1.
Yeah, I think he was great. I love the way that he welcomed everyone to the game, and the like kind of reverence that he even had. He's such a big fan of even US Survivor, so the reverence that he kind of had for those players was amazing. There were so many funny things in this episode. We'll talk about the strategy because obviously that's what we're here to do. But like, I love Luke saying, "You'll see some things you haven't seen from me, like maybe win," which was great, very self-deprecating.
Shannon, that's the thing. I like everybody's point of view of their games that got them here. You know what I'm saying? When Parvati's like, yeah, I should have won twice, but there was a bit of jury. And then later on, Saria's talking about Micronesia. And she's like, yeah, Parvati won that season, my season. And I'm like,
yeah, it was so, I agree. It was so good. I also love that David referenced Ray Gun. It really dated the filming to a year ago. I was like, that's not relevant. And actually, Ray Gun has subsequently been cancelled. So it really dated it to September 2024. But that was great. There was, there was so many references here. I've watched it through twice. I don't know if I missed any. Like, I'm sure there'll be more on Twitter. But something else I loved was that the challenge with the boxes. Last time Shawnee and George threw it. So George was like, oh, we'll actually try this time. That was great. George and Shawnee's whole conversation where he's like, I have bad blood. She's like, you voted me out. Why would you have bad blood?
Why would you have
everyone? Bad blood? It was the history and what Lisa actually. We'll talk about Lisa a lot, but Lisa referred to it as like the reality TV multiverse. And as someone who is too loyal to Marvel, a Marvel casual, I was like, yes. And this is it, Chappell, with you here especially. Dondie being so relevant so quickly, just like we thought. And at first she was like, we played a game. I'm like, is she not allowed to say Dylan O'Doyle?
She's not going to say Dondie. Yeah, she can't say Dylan O'Doyle. She had to name drop my show. I was like, this is crazy. And Lisa, Queen, she's like, wow, thanks for spoiling Dondie.
Like, the spoilers are fake, by the way. She's Parvati was lying and it was fake. So
yeah. Well, kind of. Like she was lying, but at the same time, like, I mean, it's definitely a lie, but make no mistake. David does go far into Dondie, so it's like
he goes on, but Parvati, the people they don't even. They should have had like a.
They don't even know. They don't even know.
No, well, they should have had an editor's note to be like, David did not turn on Parvati, because the people don't know from Dondie that that's not true. Because what happened in Dondie, for the people who didn't watch Dondie, firstly, how dare you? Secondly, in Dylan O'Doyle Island, you play the banker. Like, tribal council is called Temple, and you play the banker. And we knew this would be immediately relevant. And basically, it should kind of end up being a 50-50 shot. So, you get the position. If you win certain challenge things, you get to put someone either into the temple and play the banker. And David had or you can put someone, you know what I mean? Okay, whatever. So David had the choice between putting an ally or the ally's enemy into temple. Either way, it's 50-50 shot. Either the ally's going to win or lose, or the ally's enemy will win or lose, and then they get to decide if they take out his ally. He put in the ally's enemy. They won Dylan O'Doyle. They took out his ally. So next time he thought, okay, well, Pav, I'll just put you in. Again, it's a 50-50 shot. He didn't do it to ruin her. He was like, you be the author of your own fate in this coin toss. And she lost Dylan O'Doyle. He never turned on her. He never turned on her.
Yeah. So for me, watching this moment, it meant so much to me because like watching Dondie was like a little side hustle I had. It was a little something on the side. And then I found out Survivor Player is going to be there. Then Dr. Will's going to be there. Yeah. No, don't get me wrong. I am the world expert. But watching it, I didn't expect for it to mean so much to my world. And now my world has gotten so much bigger. And now I'm an AU Survivor fan now, but now I get to watch AU versus the world, and they're talking about it. And, I was thinking they're going to keep it secret. And then it was like, it was coming out, and then it was leaking out. And then it was like a bomb dropped at Tribal Council. And I was like, wait, is this going to change things? Like, look at Dondie giving me so much. Oh my God. So good. This was so good. I have so much to talk about in this one episode. And it's just like, it's the little things, like you said, like Lisa being the reality TV fan, knowing all these people, and then ticking off the list of like, didn't know that. You know, like that was so funny. She's like, yeah, I finally ran into the one thing I probably couldn't account for, which is this whole other game show that I actually probably watched, but did not know that the two of you were on there together. Wasn't ready for that. Shannon, this is so good. This is so cool. I don't know, man. We haven't even talked about any of the strategy because there's so many character moments that I just really enjoyed. George meeting up with the two guys who we've all forecasted preseason that were like, this is not going to work. You know, like they're not going to work together. And for like a split second, it does look like, hey, we're the big names. I'm the king. You're the king. You're the god. Like, what do we got? Just get together. Let's do this. They're like power bottoms. Let's go. And in 2 seconds, they're like, yeah, he got to go. I was like, oh my God. Okay, we were right. I think we forecasted a lot of these things, Shannon, because we all have taken so much care, especially you, but taking so much care and just going and getting all the research done so that we could talk about this intelligently, and it all paid off because now it's right here in front of us, and I couldn't ask for more. I really think this is one of like almost like a perfect episode of television.
I'm so glad that I did the prep. Like, I'm so glad. Yes. And like for anyone who even just listened to the podcast or listened to our preseason coverage, like I think I calculated there are about 25 seasons of reality TV that I've watched. There's more because there's Luke's Big Brother and The Face. So about 27 seasons of reality TV and 18 of them are Survivor, or a type of Survivor, but like that make up the, you know, required reading for this season. And when Dondie was immediately relevant, I was like, it was worth it. It was all worth it. And seeing Cass and Tommy and everything, like it was, and they weren't first boot. Like it was so great. We will have to talk about the actual boot. But yeah, this was just like, I think like spending the almost 20 minutes fangirling just over what a wonderful time it was and what an explosion of the reality TV multiverses was so much fun. But yeah, let's talk about the actual strategy and the vote.
No. I still got more moments. More. Okay, because there's so much Suri in this episode. Let me be very clear. My mom is back. She's back, baby. The Fields family were back out here. I love her so much. I was so concerned because I know that they know her. I saw people in the comments of our draft saying like, Suri's profile isn't as big as y'all are saying it is. And when Suri comes out, all you hear is, oh my God, it's Suri. And she goes, oh no, I heard my name. I'm like, yes, of course you heard your name. Yes, Suri, are you crazy?
Fields. Commented her some respect.
Freaking Fields. I loved Kirby being like, so I don't know none of y'all.
We predicted exactly what we said would happen, and she said it word for word. I love that.
I've never seen this show before. I don't know any of you people. Tell me what I need to catch me up, you know?
Specifically, what she said was, I didn't watch it before they played the first time, and I have not watched it since. Like, I did not prep for that. I did not prep for this. Bold Kirby, but so Kirby, but classic Kirby. I loved it.
Yeah, they were in their bag. You know, like this really was a Purple Sarah episode, but I did enjoy what we got from Tommy and Cass for sure. Like, I want to root for them so bad, just based on this episode. I'm like, do I have to watch Quebec? You know, like, Finland? Like, how do I do this? Like, I know you went through a lot to get there. I'm like, somebody send me a supercut or something so I can properly stand these people. Yeah, and then there was some strategy and stuff like that too.
Yeah, there was also some strategy. It wasn't actually that strategic an episode. I thought it was interesting that everyone was very congenial, but like they talk about how it's going to be like so fast. I'm sure it'll get fast and it's going to be such a bloodbath. And even at Tribal Council, I think Suri's even saying that. I'm like, that has not been my impression of it at all. Even on the mat, Jonathan calls him out for no trash talking. Like, I think that there's like a bit of reverence. As you said, there's kind of this like, I mean, they want to play with each other, right? So I think that exists. There's like almost like a respect out there. Then Rob comes in so hot and George is being very loud. But I don't think everyone else is being that way. Like everyone's going for like a really clear kind of George target in Australia. On the World Tribe, no one was giving names. Rob was giving the names in a way that was too aggressive. And then obviously they'd come back against Rob. But they didn't want to give any names. And I was like, this is actually, it's not that it's slow. It's just like everyone's holding back a little bit. I'm sure that will end, but that actually is not really how I saw it going. It was, I think, in many ways, kind of a simple strategic episode, which we can talk about for the World Tribe, and we definitely will talk about. But I think for me, the thing that characterizes this episode is just settling into how iconic everyone is being and the fan moments. But yeah, there was a vote that happened, Chappell.
Yeah, I mean, they were there a day and a half. They had two challenges, two one very physical challenge and one kind of like, whatever challenge. But yeah, like in a day, they really like worked them, and they were at Tribal Council before the end of day 2, essentially. I think it is moving very quickly, especially with them having to find their footing, having to make a camp and stuff like that. I don't remember who points it out, but like the survival part of Survivor is not even the thing these people are worried about. Yeah, she's like,
back in my day, we used to care, but we don't care anymore.
Yeah, we're trying to play the game here. And we do have some natural factions that are already walking out on the beach together. We have these 3 Americans on the World Tribe who are obviously going to be like have each other's interest in mind. But then you have the 4 people on the world who are like, all right, well, it behooves us to kind of box them out. But then, of course, as everyone predicted, or at least we did, you have the wild cards of like Suri, who wouldn't want to go to the end probably with Tony and Parvati, and Lisa, who is like, hey, I'm just here to play with Suri at this point. And she's I will give you a
kidney, as we all would. God forbid Suri ever needs a kidney. There are so many kidneys waiting. There are kidneys in the freaking line.
The way I would be trying to push my kidney to the front of the pack.
Take my kidney, Suri, please.
Please, pick me. I want my kidney to play Survivor 60. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. So yes, exactly. For her third win. So like for me watching this, I was very much like, okay, bet. Let's see what strategy unfolds. And I think that there was a lot of nuance to the strategy. Like obviously it's like US versus, the world on that tribe, but then there's also a gender imbalance. And Rob points that out like, okay, well, there's more of you all from one country, but then there's also more women. So if we're going to vote out somebody, why can't it be a woman from y'all's country? Like, doesn't that make sense to balance things out? Like there were little things in there that people were trying to work throughout, but Rob definitely kind of takes the forefront here as he is our first boot. And honestly, I would have guessed that Rob would have been our first boot. So I was a little surprised by that.
Yeah, I mean, firstly, wild and maybe indicative of how this episode went to say we should vote out an American woman to one of the 2 American women in Parvati. I thought that was audacious. Rob did what we were kind of concerned might happen. Like Rob played against newbies and not an untalented cast, but he had it so sewed up. Like the kind of stuff that Rob was pulling here worked when Rob was the godfather and the cult leader. And we were a little bit concerned that he would come onto a season with way more experienced players, way more skilled players, which is not a knock against Island of Secrets. Like this is a returning season of some of the best in the world, and think he can play at the same speed and underestimate people. And I think he was doing that. As Parvati obviously has parts of that, but he's clocking her too. But even Lisa is like, you're kind of treating me like a pawn. I won the game. I'm a winner of the show. Actually, I'm a good winner.
I won. Like I'm I'm kind of
I didn't win a contest to be here. I actually won Survivor New Zealand.
Since we're talking about yeah, look, it's strategic, but it's also a good character moment too. Rob versus Parvati, where they're both like using their seductive eyes on each other. To me, that's television. Where Rob is like, I'm kind of known from right. And I was like, kiss, but so I'm like, so I'm watching it, and because Parvati's like, okay, I'm Parvati, I'm kind of a flirt. Let me go and do the eyes thing. And Rob's like, man, your eyes are so pretty. She's like, yeah, your eyes are pretty too. And they're kind of like, wait a minute. Are you doing the eyes thing on me? He's like, I see you. I was like, they are doing it. And then we get Robbie like, yeah, she's flirting with me, but I see through this. I was like, all the superpowers are smashing against each other, like had it been a weaker man, he folds there, but this is Rob. Rob's not a bad Survivor player. He definitely gets beat in this episode. But yeah, I love seeing that the sparring match wasn't like some steamroll by like, okay, we brought in these people and these people from the world don't measure up to these legends. Like, no, they were holding their own. And I enjoyed seeing those character moments amidst the strategy too.
Yeah, I mean, I think also characterized by the Dondie reveal, right? And we can talk about that, and we definitely will. But that showed there was some fight in it because that was legitimate info. And I think Parvati really misstepped in giving it to Rob. Clearly she did. She read Rob incorrectly. She was trying to play him. He was onto her, and it went so south so quickly. She misunderstood, I think, who Rob was going to be and the kind of control he would try to get and how aggressive he would be with his strategy. She trusted him. She gave him this very important information, and he blew it up at Tribal Council, which was a jaw-dropping moment, which we'll definitely talk about. But in terms of Rob being the first boot, it is surprising. I think it's surprising because it's the wrong move. I would not have done that.
I agree. This is not the right move.
Yeah, I want like this. There is nuance to this, and I want to talk about it. Firstly, for Lisa, who's really seen as the architect of this move. I don't know that if I'm biased, but Lisa was the star of this episode. I was concerned that Lisa's such a nice and normal woman that she would be punished for that and be purpled because she's with Tony and David and all of these insane people, and she's not. She's really lovely and very regular. So, like, in the best way. Like, she's a normal human being, which is crazy on Survivor, to be honest. That in itself is crazy. Lisa was not only the strategic star and, like, in control of what was happening, even though I do disagree with the move, but we'll talk about it.
I do too.
Lisa was the star of the episode. I think like we talked about like all the fun stuff she had, and it wasn't just being our proxy, which was wonderful. Loved it. But that was like one part of the story. I felt like Lisa had so much going on. She had so much fun stuff. She called George insufferable. She was like laughing about Rob. She had that great confessional about like, but I've actually won the game. Like it was, she was giving like Hermione energy. I don't know if that's just because I watched all the Harry Potters recently, but she was so good, such a star of the episode, and I'm so glad. And she completely carried her own, and it was like such great entertainment. That's the first thing. That's entertainment. Do you have anything on that? Yeah.
The best proxy I have for her is like Christian Hubicki in David versus Goliath, because he knows everything, and so he's like the narrator of the strategy, but also some of the social bonds. Lisa is the person there. She's you, like she's us. She's like sitting there with the stat sheet, and so she's like, when things are happening, there's like the cool moment where I think Sari comes to Lisa. It's like, yeah, so somebody's floating the name. So Rob is floating the name. It's like, yeah, of course he's floating your name, and she's like, yeah, it's crazy that he's good at everything, like finding the machete and using a slingshot, and she just and creating fire, all the things that Rob should in theory be good at, and I'm sure has said he was good at and was not good at. Lisa's just casually rattling those. And she's just casually rattling those things off. She's not like saying it like in a like a snarky way. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, well how are we ever gonna get rid of Rob? I don't know. He's so good at the machete. And then they cut to the machete behind the tree, and Rob being like, I don't know where the machete is. I was like, it grew legs and walked off. Say it, Lisa. So I don't know. I think I'm biased as well. I do love her, but I do think she was a standout, and I'm hoping I'm hoping so much that she like makes it always like if Lisa wins this. I don't think she won because she's not dead, and I think she would have like died from a heart attack if she won this season. But like you know what I'm saying? Like I just the fact that she's alive, I'm like, okay, she might not have won, but what if she did? Like this would be such a fun journey. Just after episode 1, this season through Lisa's eyes would be incredible.
Yeah, and we've talked about this with like Adam Klein on Winners of Wars also, and I loved Adam in Winners of War. I think he was such a star in Winners of War, and Lisa was giving a lot of that energy, but more so. And like, does she win the game? We don't know. But how far ahead is she in the race to give Sari a kidney? The real race of our time, and I think that she's probably doing well in that. Yeah.
Oh my God, they're best friends. They're best friends right now, and
I will take her.
Yeah. God damn it. Yeah, this is so cool, man. I'm sorry. The more we talk about it, the more I'm like just like gushing over everything. Is also other character moments. Parvati and Sari, their whole thing is like, oh, that's my girl. We linked up again. I gotta look out for her. But Sari being like, I don't really have to go for her to Parvati if I don't have to. Like Sari is definitely, she's kind of in her like, anybody but me era when it comes to like the world is coming to her like, Lisa wants to work with you. She's like, I'm down. I think there's even that moment at Tribal Council where she stands up and she's like, so just to be good, because first of all, I don't think I've ever seen Sari stand up at the Tribal Council. I don't think, is this a first? So
they started standing up in Game Changers, and the last season she was in was Game Changers. Like she was right on the cusp of that.
But that doesn't count because they were like everybody was standing up. But Sari's like she like pulled like
I don't know if she was. I'm just saying she hasn't had a lot. She hasn't really played in the post-standing era.
In the stand-up era. Yeah. So when she got up, I was like, girl, what you about to do? And she went over and she's like, so we still good, right? And had they said no, I think she flips on Parvati. I think she's like, all right, bye. Right. So that's why I was like, wow, we're seeing all of these cool moments. I mean, this is I could do this all day.
Yeah, we could. I mean, let's talk about Lisa. Firstly, Lisa, you helped me meet Sari. Secondly, I don't think this is the right move. With caveats, it's not the right move to vote out Rob for the reason of what happens next. Like we are going to a 3-3.
Crazy.
You're probably going to lose the challenge where you've already lost 2 with Rob, and I understand that Rob, wasn't delivering the challenges, but I don't know, you still need him. Like, you're gonna get slaughtered without him. Like, did you see them having to put the boxes up on their back? Part of me was like, is David the new host, maybe? Allegedly. Because they owe him money because he's gonna sue them because he's gonna break his back with this box. Now, I've seen challenge, first immunity injuries before, and I've seen lawsuits. So I genuinely was like, seeing David's back like that, I was like, is he in genuine danger right now? So I think they need Rob physically. He kind of Tony was doing the slingshot better. He wasn't doing, he wanted to do the boxes differently. They did end up doing the boxes the normal way that the other tribe did it. I got what he was trying to say. I just think that the other tribe used their backs quicker and just did that better. I don't really know if Rob was holding the back. They don't even get up to do the slingshot without Rob in that challenge. So they need Rob. They're at a 3-3. And especially at the point where it's not Cirie as a target. If it is Cirie v. Rob, even though I think losing Rob here is terrible, I honestly get Lisa not taking out Cirie. She's not going to take Cirie out. I'm sorry. Like, I don't mean to be like a super fan, and I obviously am being that, but like, you wouldn't, like, she's not going to vote out Cirie first. It's absurd. But at the point where it's Parvati, as she's saying, in some ways, that may actually get her closer to Cirie. Now, Cirie's not going to love. That's not a great way to become, Cirie's new Izzy, I think, to vote out Parvati. But it could make her more reliant on you, which is, again, not the best way to make like a long-term, lifelong bond, but may help in the game. Also, there are so many good excuses for voting out Parvati. We just really needed Rob in the challenge. Like, what were we meant to do? Also, at the point where the Dondie news was dropped, she didn't tell us she's really close with David. Like, I'm sorry, Cirie. I really want to work with you, and I love you more than I love my own child. I'm sure she would say. Right. But she didn't tell us about Dondie. She didn't tell us about David. All of that would be so fair. Honestly, Cirie, as you said, might have turned herself and could not really be mad at it. So I don't think it's a great spot, Chappell style, but I do want to credit Lisa for being in that position, for never being in trouble, even though tribe strength was bandied about, for never being a name, for really consolidating with Tommy and Cass, not making the decision between 2 3s of swing vote, which is terrible for the first vote, to piss off 3 people, to make the decision to, which I guess she could have pissed off all of the Americans. But either way, she knows she's going to have this really core group with Tommy and Cass. She makes sure they do like a pinky swear together. I thought that was really good. Being in that position at all, I thought was good. It's the kind of move that I would think is good if you're about to merge. Keep the tribe unified. You're not going to go to challenges, but because I do think there'll be at least a couple more challenges. I mean, this is the first episode. You need Rob physically. The unity matters less because you are still going to have probably tribal councils before you go to a merge. It's not about keeping it unified for the merge. It's how do you get through to a merge? And now I think that's a way trickier spot. But I will also say, to defend Lisa against myself in this long discussion I'm currently having with myself, it's worse for Tommy and Cass. Probably Tommy, because even Parvati says she's aligned with Lisa and Cass. I don't see Lisa going home pre-merge. I think she's insulated enough where she herself is fine, but I just see the next vote being tricky. I would have rather taken out Parvati, gone back to Cirie, been like, there were endless reasons, and you take out Rob next. Hopefully he helps you win a couple of challenges, and then you're in a 3-2 position and you're working with Cirie, and then you have options. And that's how I would have seen the game.
I totally agree. I think that this is the worst for Tommy because let's say there is an all-devouring women's alliance. You're not in it. Let's say there is the USA versus the world on your tribe. Well, guess what? Now y'all are even at best. And we know Lisa really does love Cirie. You know what I'm saying? Like, so the numbers are not Tommy. This is the worst move for Tommy. I think for Lisa, you could squint and say like, okay, if the women are working together, maybe Tony and Tommy are next, and so that gets you a little bit further. But I totally think this is Parvati. I think. Yeah, and I think this is Parvati's time to go. I think that you for everything you said, you have every right to vote out Parvati here. Cirie, if you tell her what's going on, she doesn't really have anywhere to go to flip this over on anybody. Like that's the thing. The lines are so divided where you're her piece that she should be using to flip this on somebody. And so you go ahead and get rid of Parvati here. You take Rob, who is, can I just say, is massive compared to how he used to look. I don't remember Rob Bentley being.
I know.
I said
his muscles has it looks like his muscles ate his old muscles.
Exactly. I said, oh my God, Rob, you ate Rob. And so to see him in this position, I'm like, nah, I think you keep him for one more round. You keep the tribe, quote unquote, strong or whatever. Get rid of Parvati here. You don't have to worry about the David thing. You keep an eye on Rob. If you need to eliminate him, you can eliminate him after this and still be in a better spot. than the 3-3 tie that you're currently in. You could get rid of Tony if you need to before Rob, honestly, because at best Rob can flip and go to the Australians, but Rob has already identified that he's not going with the Australians. He says, we're bringing this to the world. The world is going to win this as far as he was concerned. So he's the last person you have to really worry about flipping over and leaving y'all out high and dry. And so I'm just like, I just feel like this is a misstep. And now don't get me wrong, we probably this is a lot of gameplay that we do see in a short amount of time. It's edited, and I'm sure there's stuff that we missed. But to me, the moment you drop the Dondie bomb, that's the nail in the coffin for Parvati. Because I'm like, well, no, wait, y'all did play together. How do I know you're telling me the truth about why, how long y'all played? We saw David doing exactly what I thought he would do, being David, playing big and going to Rob immediately. So if you at least think, okay, now let's say David was able to pull over Rob in that moment and they are working together. But now Rob and Parvati both have a connection to him, and Parvati's goes longer than we just met 2 seconds ago on the mat. Get rid of her, and now you don't have to worry about that. So I totally disagree with this. I know people are like, you hate Parvati. No, I think this is an amazing episode for Parvati Shallow. One of her best gameplay. She went toe to toe with Rob and destroyed him. And I think that I don't want to tip my hand on the chizzy, but she should have been gone here and she survived. So I think this is great for Parvati, but so bad for the world, I think.
Yeah, well, firstly, I love that we live in a world, in Australia V world, where we have a Dondie bomb. Wonderful.
Yeah,
best of the bombs. The only good one.
Yeah.
The only good bomb, the Dondie bomb. I look, Rob, Rob, I guess, has been talking to David, so maybe there's that concern, but that's nothing compared to the fact that he and Parvati were mother and father, that they don't know this on Dondie. But Parvati made it really clear to Rob that they were close. What she did not indicate that there was any issue there, because they were not. That's a lie. It's a fake Dondie spoiler. So Rob is so isolated. He is pissing everyone off. You have eyes on him. He's not a concern. He will help you in the challenges, and you can get rid of him at any time. I think next is fine. I guess if he starts annoying you less and is really helpful in the challenges, you do have possibly other options like a Tony. I do think I don't think that Lisa should vote out Suri first. I think that's crazy, and I don't judge it for not. I think she can upset Suri by voting out Parvati. I think that that's not a bridge too far. But I do want to say, I think this is really important. There's two things. The keep the tribe strong mentality is not good for the Lisas of the world. That is true. But no one is picking up what Rob is selling.
Nobody.
That's not what you would do. You would be doing it to keep the tribe strong, to keep you out of challenges for now, and you can still get rid of Rob later. It's just to help you. It's just a means to an end. The second thing is that to defend Lisa, I'm all over the map in terms of the debate
from ourselves.
But I will say, to defend Lisa, this does not exist in a vacuum, and voting out Parvati Shallow first, that's a lot.
Crazy.
Thinking of the fans, thinking of social media, thinking of production who are so excited to have got these US people out there, and that that's true. I cannot imagine the pressure of voting out Parvati first. I think that has to weigh into it, whether it's unconscious or how much that does. I think that is there, and how much he probably even wants to work with Parv, who is trying to work with Cass and Lisa over Rob. That is something. I don't agree with it, because I still think that the move should go ahead. I still think Parvati's a much bigger threat. I still think that, Rob talking to David pales in comparison to what we know of Parvati and David's relationship. And even without that, to be honest, it's Rob's such a non-threat at this point. He's kind of doomed his game in the first episode, whether he goes or not. But I just think that there is something there. I also think who you want to work with long-term doesn't really matter in this season, because it's going to end 2 weeks from the day they're on right now. So
I think Rob really goes wrong when he tries to target Suri. In many ways. I think his biggest mistake is trying to target Suri. I think he comes in immediately. He's never
going to give her a kidney ever now. He's so far down that list.
Why would you do that? But him being all right, I gotta find my spot. Parvati's good in challenges. I got the world aside me. I guess it's got to be Suri first. First of all, Rob, if you've ever seen Survivor, you knew this wasn't going to work out for you. They've been trying to do this in Panama. Okay, it doesn't work for Suri. Okay, so he tries it, and I think that's a no-sell with Lisa from jump, right? We don't really see that. But if that was what he was positing, Lisa's already looking for a plan B. And so then when Rob's okay, well, Parvati didn't like what I said, so now I'm going to take out Parvati. It's so now you think you could just point and click, and we just going to do whatever you want us to do. And I think it makes him look worse. I think if he goes after Parvati immediately, I don't think this is a problem. I think he might survive this round. I think if he goes after Parvati with the knowledge about Dondie, and he's like, look, I'm only telling the world. I'm not going to tell the rest of them, but she's already told me that her and David, there were two of them. There's a guy named Dixon. You'd have to be there. But they told me everything, and they're working together. We got to take her out right now. And we'd have the numbers, like, I think if he goes directly for Parvati, and like, Lisa, you can bring over Cirie, clearly, whatever that little bond is right there, we got that too. It'll give us some wiggle room. But I think going after Cirie and then like trying to put your will on somebody else just because you didn't like their response to what you were saying, it makes it look like you want to be like a dictator of the tribe. And it does come off very strong. I know Mike said that he didn't really see Rob coming out as like a capital A alpha male, but I mean, that's kind of how it came off. When you start telling people, well, okay, well, you don't like that. Well, okay, do this. Well, do this. We'll do this. It's like, all right, well, it's very belittling to people like Lisa, who was like, I won and I killed the game. You know what I'm saying? Like my season is like I know you ran a cult, but I did some cool shit. You know what I'm saying? So I could see why that would turn me off to somebody like Rob. So I just really think like his approach was all wrong. Because I think if like he plays this straight and it's Parvati and then it's just the numbers and this, that, and other. Honestly, I don't really see there being a way that they can get this off of her. And then he even tried to protect against an idol. This man voted for Cirie. Sir, how dare you?
Yeah. It was all tact. Like, he's entitled to go after Parvati, who openly tells us she's trying to play him. The way he went about it was not right. Like, Lisa gets put in a position where in another world, AUV world, I can't stop now. In another world, you don't go with the Americans because now it feels like you're just being led by the Americans. Like, Lisa needs to make a name for herself. Like, she needs to stamp it down because people don't know her coming into the season. And that's a concern that I have in such a short season for these unknown players to the rest of the cast, which for Kirby is everyone. But for most people, there's just a few. And you need to make a name if you don't have as big a reputation. But in a different world, that means going against the Americans so you don't look led by the Americans. But Rob came out so strong that now it's like, well, I either look like I'm being dictated to by Rob or I'm just following the Americans. Like, either way, this kind of looks the same. When actually she has the control to make the decision and has actually formed a three in the middle of that who are all making the decision together. This like pinky swear, anti-Rob international three that she has with Kath and Tommy. So Rob, every way that Rob went about it, whether it was, again, like telling Parvati that an American woman should go, whether it was telling Cirie her name was being floated when it was so verifiably being floated by him. He had just said it in front of Parvati. Like, this man has clearly not seen Micronesia. Like, putting out Cirie to Parvati and Parvati to Cirie, anyone with even a small amount of like US Survivor knowledge would know that's not going to fly. There were so many things. And I do think while the Dondie bomb was a wonderful thing we own now, that we have that. And it was an incredible TV moment. I like what you said about doing that in earlier. Like it didn't have to be this big bombastic thing, which his whole game was so big and bombastic. He gave Parvati the chance to defend and lie about the Dondie spoilers. He also should have gone like, I'm telling you guys this because you're my alliance. We're in it together. And Parvati has this really dangerous thing. And they're less likely going to change on the fly, I think. But it actually was really big information. And if he does the exact same thing, but just completely different. If he has the exact same decisions, but has a much softer approach and it's going to them without dictating and it's like, hey guys, just letting you know we have this information about Parvati. I'm telling you guys because I really trust you. I think this does go possibly differently. But I think they just also really didn't want to work with Rob, and that also factors into it. So I think that Rob made mistakes. I think Parvati, I know you're going to look at her in the cheesy points. I think it was so bad to tell Rob about Dondie.
But he's gone.
She didn't want to talk about Dondie because it was a fun time.
Because it was a fun time.
There was a temple. Do you know that Joe Manganiello, the host?
Alcide from True Blood was there. You know, like the stripper from Magic Mike was the host.
Guess who the banker was? Guess who it was? Guess who the banker?
Yeah, you'll never believe this. Chrissy Teigen. It was Chrissy Teigen. Like, this man won like $6 million. Like, we could not stop talking about it.
$6 million US, and she just wants to talk about Dondie. She played it 2 weeks before the season or thereabouts.
We couldn't stop talking about it, and it's aired so long ago, and she had just done it. So of course she's ready to wield this like secret weapon. Yeah, look, she was ready to be like, all right, I saw David talking to you, so that's the signal. I see you, David, talking to you. I talk to you. Yeah. You got the Dondie across the board. I bring over Cirie. Boom, boom, boom. I'm sorry. I have to give it to her though, because I really do think that like she plays so aggressively in this round. that she had to play aggressively. I think that if you just leave it to the devices, if it's just based on numbers, then I think Parvati goes here every time. I just don't see a world where she survives this based on Lisa's connection to Cirie, Tony for the tribe strength or whatever, and then you got Rob and the non-Americans or whatever are all aligned. It's like Parvati's kind of on an island if Cirie doesn't go out on a limb to save her. We don't have any reason to believe Tony would do it. You know, they know each other, but like, we don't know them to be like close allies in life or anything like that. So it's like, yeah, I think that she has to go and get out of this some way. And I think Rob just played into her hands. I love seeing her scramble. It reminds me, and I loved it in a word because you just don't see that from Parvati often. She even mentions it, like, I don't think I've ever been blindsided. I was like, I don't think Parvati's ever been blindsided. I think she's always known that she was going to get voted out because, like,
but she always had heat.
Right, but she's never been blindsided.
She's used to having heat early. This is a very comfortable spot. But this is what she had in Heroes versus Villains, and then she ends up almost winning that season. Like, Parvati comes in as the biggest name of that season too.
Yeah, and she's going to people. She come to Cass and Lisa like, "Are y'all trying to blindside me? That would be crazy if y'all trying to blindside me." And they're like, "No." And or I think she was talking to. She's like, "Is it me?" And they're like, "What?" She's like, "Is it me?" What? No, Parvati. She's like, "It's me. Oh my God, it's me. You said it. You just said it was me. That's crazy." I was like, look at her work. You know, like, I'm sorry. Like, I think when survivors face adversity, they're a lot more fun to watch when they're able to get out of it. Because you kind of see, you know, who has the mettle to play the game. And it's not all about just like, oh, well, I was in a good alliance and we went to the end. It's kind of like, what do you do when your back is against the wall? So I was very impressed with Parvati in this episode. I did not expect her to survive.
Yeah, it was shocking. It's hard for me. Kind of feel like I was tipped off by my exit interview time. It was like later in the day. I was like, kind of feels like I'm on the South African time zone. And then I told Peter I was tipped off by my exit. I didn't tell him the time. He was like, now I know it's someone who you would know their time zone. I'm like, Peter, I know every time zone of every person on this season. He was like, prove it. And then I sat there telling him every time zone of every person on this season. And he Googled it. And I was 1 hour off on Finland, but I got all of them. And genuinely, I'm really happy with myself. I was like, I'm not spoiling.
Congratulations.
Time zone, okay, I know all the time zones. Yeah, so I kind of feel like I was feeding into that. It felt like Rob's time to go. Also, because Rob was so clearly just like wrong about everything. It was a bad omen for the Australians because he was like, an Aussie will win this, and he was. Yeah, he had a terrible. It was like OTTN. He was so wrong about everything. He says to Parvati, he's like, no one's gonna blindside you on your birthday. A few hours later, he's leading the charge against her on her birthday. Like, there was so many things. So I really did feel like it was Rob's time, and my exit interview, again, is at a time that is 3 a.m. And well, no, actually for Parvati, it would be about midnight. I guess she could, but it seemed unlikely. So yeah, that was a bit unfortunate. I'm like, don't tell me the names because I want to stay on spot. They're like, it's 5, but your exit interview's at 6 p.m. I'm like, huh. Yeah. Anyway, it's fine. That's just a me thing. But yeah, I mean, I do think as well that yeah, I mean, I think mistakes were made by Parvati, by Rob, by Rob. It's not the same. But
yeah, that's not even the same.
I don't know how much I credit Parvati for getting out of it, but she also like kind of got herself into it.
Did she get herself into it?
You shouldn't have told him about Dondie. I don't care how insane it was that Chrissy Teigen was the banker.
Okay, that was bad, but I think she's always in this spot. I think in the first round of this particular tribe,
she gave him ammo.
Okay, if not Parvati, who?
It's fine. Even Rob, if that's true, but she made her position worse. He could have used that information better and doomed her. She's lucky he didn't.
Pish posh.
No, she's lucky he didn't.
She will probably have to deal with the Dondie bomb later on. Like, that's definitely coming back. Like, no one's gonna forget that, even Cirie. But I think in this round, that was a misstep. But I am very impressed at how she was able to get this target off of her and onto this man who is. I just cannot stop talking about how huge Rob Bentley looked. When he picks up that damn thing by himself, essentially, I was like, this is crazy. Like, I wonder if he got jacked for this or if he just like has naturally, over the years has been getting more and more ripped. But yeah, and this man who should be there for tribe strength, who would help the non-American numbers, and you still managed to get one over and get past him, and now we got a 3-3 tie, and we're potentially looking at a rock draw next round. Please, I gotta give it to her. She cooked.
Well, we'll disagree in the chizzy about that. I think Cirie knew about Dondie. You think that the Parvati didn't get off Dondie and call us saying, guess who the banker is? Come on. David won $6 million. Nah.
Well, that's because we live in a world, it's our world, me, you, and Lisa, where if anything happens to us, we would love to call Cirie and tell her. But I don't think Parvati did.
I like to think that she did, but I think if she didn't tell Suri, if she's been with her for 2 days, that's a really shocking betrayal if she didn't tell Suri about the David thing, to be honest. That's a really big miss. You told Rob before Suri? That would be insane to me.
I mean, if I'm Suri, I'm definitely looking at Parvati different. I mean, or the same, because Suri should be.
That's a mistake.
She should be concerned about Parvati. And now she has even more ammo for that. But I don't know. Now that it's tied up, is Suri going to rocks for Parvati? Tony? Like, what happens if they lose again? What is that going to look like?
I don't know what the next tribal council looks like.
I'm so ready to watch the second episode. I honestly at some point I blacked out and was like, okay, what's happening in episode 2? And I don't know. And I'm ready for episode 3. And I'm like, I'm stressed. I'm very stressed. They should not have put us in a 3-3 tie situation this early on, and they did it.
It's crazy.
And now we get to like talk about that. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe they'll go to Ross, like in the pre-merge of Survivor Quebec.
Right. Right. And then, like, and only Cass knows. No,
Cass wasn't even there.
Oh my God. Yeah. They've gone to Rocks in the pre-merge of SurvivorAU as well, right?
No, they've never gone to Rocks ever on AU. They went to Rocks on South Africa episode 2.
No, they should have gone. South Africa is what I meant. Yeah, South Africa is what I meant. But yeah. So yeah, this is crazy. There were no idols found in this episode, Shannon. What you think about that?
There weren't, and there was also the special box, the box. Which
the box. What's in the box?
I think the key was implied, kind of. I kind of feel like if you get a box, you should be afforded a key.
Well, Rob was asking.
They should have been able to slide down for the key.
Go on.
As a separate thing. And then maybe it's like, okay, Rob takes the box, but then someone else takes the key, and now you have to work together, or you win both, and then you get the box and the key.
What did you think about that challenge?
It was kind of chill, but like it was nothing. But it was fun that they were all being really fun. Like I'm like Tony versus Luke. We should have more in this. This is crazy. This is like 2 alternate reality versions of each other, and like Shawnee and Lisa talking about champagne. Like it was fun because of who it was. Like they slid down a thing and they like went through a net, and then they like threw. But there are a lot of fun people won. Lisa won, so re-won.
Lisa won first row.
Challenge.
Yeah. I definitely paid attention. This is the first time in a long time I've paid attention to any SurvivorAU challenges. Not since Miles found that idol during the middle of the challenges. But yeah, like I loved Lisa walking up the steps and being like, Shawnee, I know you want that champagne. she's like, I kind of know that's your thing. It's like, yeah. And Shawnee's like, who are you again? Like it's so good. It's so good.
Charmed, I'm sure. Yeah. Do we have anything on the Australia tribe? We've talked a little bit about them going for George. I mean, there was kind of a Frankenbitten maybe contradiction where at first David's like, George is a shield for me, and he's like, George isn't a shield for me. He didn't even win. It's like, well, you just kind of said he was, but maybe that was a Frankenbite. Secondly, if George isn't a shield for you, then no one's a shield for you. Then this is a very tricky spot. Like if anyone is a shield for you, it honestly is George. But you don't have to work with shields. Like if you think he's unworkable, that's fine. But being like, he's not a shield. He's the other biggest name in Australian Survivor and on that tribe, and that's just simply true. But if David doesn't want to go with that, sure, but don't act like he's not a shield. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think David, I've gushed about Suri and Lisa enough. Now it's time for me to talk about the Golden God. Y'all know this my boy. This man, he can only be him. And he comes in and he's just like, the audacity of you to think that you're on the same level as me. He says, George wants to be me strategically. And that's what really eats him up. He says he thinks he's the strategy guy. He knows he doesn't even hold a candle to me. I was like, David, I'm smoking a cigarette. I'm loving this content because I want him to be the showboat that he is. I need all of this from David. I like him playing big. I like the go over and talk to Rob immediately on the first challenge, the first second you get. I'm sorry. This is the type of content that I'm supposed to get from the Golden God. And so if he has to talk down a little bit on George or other players, it's just how he plays the game. And so I think it's like this friendly rivalry that he might have with George, where he's saying like, I want George out, but for a number of reasons. Like, yes, he's a threat, but also he thinks he's the Golden God here. He thinks he's in charge. He's the king. You think the King of Bankson is the same as what I got going on? It's not. And so, yeah, loved all the David content episode, but you have to be torn. You love all these people. These are your babies on SurvivorAU. How'd you feel watching them all amongst themselves?
Yeah, I mean, like I just want them to be shown. Like they can go against each other, but don't purple Sarah. That's my one thing. But I'm excited to see more from the Australia tribe because we didn't We didn't get a lot. What we got was great. We needed more Sarah, but it was iconic. I do think with David, like David also, he cares about the out of game stuff. Like it's not just like whether George is a shield or whatever, he's workable. Like he's not going to work with George because if he comes first and George comes fourth, he's not going to want that. You know what I mean? Like he wants the disparity. We know that from his other seasons. So yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes. David coming out of the gate very hot, as we kind of knew he would, is very, very fun. But should we get to the Chizzy? Because it sounds like we have different thoughts on the Chizzy.
Yeah, we should. Also, big shout out to my girl Kirby. It just seeing that smile come back on the screen. It's just something about like Kirby playing Survivor just makes so much sense. Yeah, I want to give her a Chizzy just because she exists on the show. That's not. I'm not going to do that. But I want
everyone. That could be. I mean, look, we did have the Kirby Shawnee a lot. That was people will love that. I think people will be very into that.
I love it. I'm people. Yeah. It's me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Take it away, Jacob Sager-Weinstein and MC Color.
1, 2, 3. 1, 1, 3. 1, 1, 3. 1, 1, 3. It's getting kind of Chizzy. 3, 2, 1.
All right. So before we get to the Chizzy, I would like to announce something that we're doing. 4 years ago, I got this idea from Sean Bryan, who gave it to me, and then I took it and ran with it. And we did a Chizzy raffle. We raised $1,160 for, at the time, Flick's charity for Alzheimer's research. I think we can do even better. So here's how the raffle is going to work. I'm partnering with this organization, a not-for-profit organization here in Australia, in Sydney, that helps cats. We have a lot of cat people listening, and even if you aren't a cat person, it's a really great charity. It desexes cats. It helps them find foster homes. It takes cats off the streets, gets them into forever homes or forever homes, based on the name of the charity, which I haven't given yet. And here's how it's going to work. Like, you tell me, Chappell, if this is making sense, because it's a lot of information to give in a short amount of time. But from now, you can buy a raffle ticket. It is one ticket for 10 Australian dollars, which is very, very good on the American conversion rate. It is 3 for 25. So if you spend like 50 Australian dollars, you'll get 6 tickets, etc. Then you want to, let me see if I got it all right. You want to email a receipt of that donation to chizzyraffle@gmail.com, or I will put you into the spreadsheet. Then you will get however many raffle tickets. The person who wins will win either my Chizzy points in the finale podcast or the Recap Bitches Chizzy points, because it'll be a finale podcast. So it'll be all 4 of us. You guys would either give your points together or I would give my points. The winner will choose whose points they will take. They will get to give points to anyone. Ideally, people from the season. Ideally, people who've played Survivor at the very least. But I will say last time, someone who did this for the Australian Survivor season gave a point to Suntany and wrecked the Chizzy charts forever. That person was Laura, who won this competition, this raffle, 4 years ago when we did it for Brains v. Brawn. It was so much fun. So I want to bring that back. How it'll work is, so if you win, so we're going to do this till Friday night, midnight, Australia time on the 5th, because the finale, I think, is the 7th. They've been saying it's 10 episodes in 3 weeks, but from what my understanding is, and if this changes, we'd have to change the raffle, but from my understanding is it's going to be 3-3-3-1. So it is 3 weeks, because the finale will be exactly 3 weeks from tonight, from the premiere. Then we'll do our finale podcast, all of us together, on what will be the Monday Australia time. So you'll have about 12 hours to get your Chizzy points in. Ideally, you will have seen the episode, but again, it's not necessarily necessary that you would have seen it. So yeah, after that Friday night, I will get in touch to say you've won the Chizzy raffle and what are your points. And you can either send in a voicemail or a video, or if you don't want to do that, you can just send in your points and some notes about it, and I will read it and choose the Chizzy points you want to take. It is a wonderful opportunity to corrupt the Chizzy, to make Chizzy history here in this historic season. I'd love to raise a lot of money for this organization. They are such a good organization. They really help my cats. And when we initially adopted them, and like our cats were a whole thing with their whole family and everything, but they found a home for our cats, maternal, actual mom, not just me. And they're just a great organization. And I know that the money will like really tangibly help this organization who can really benefit from it. So we're going to be doing that Chizzy raffle now for the next almost 3 weeks. Yeah. So email me. Oh, how can you donate? Very important. I knew there was a lot of information. This is a lot. I'll put this all out on social media. Go to foreverafterrescue.info/donate. That's forever, F-U-R, ever, E-V-E-R, after AFTER rescue rescue.info/donate. There you can donate either with a bank transfer for the Australians or on Facebook. For any of the internationals, you can just go straight with a credit card or through PayPal. So they have those 3 ways. Send me a receipt of it. I'm going to kick it off. I'll donate $50 before this podcast comes out. I will take 6 raffle tickets, and if I win, I will steal the Recap Bitches Chizzy points, and I will give all of the Chizzy points. So Chappell, if you want to steal mine, you can donate as well. All 3 of you can donate. $10 per ticket, 3 for $25. Email me the receipt. Incredible cause. We're going to make a real tangible difference. I'd love to raise quite a lot of money in this historic season and really like use this global community to do something really amazing. I think that's it. Are there any questions someone might have to that? Did I get it all?
No, I think as long as you make the link available in the show notes, then you know,
I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that.
Yeah. And that we'll be reaching out to let them know who won before the day of. I think it's cool. You know, like the URL is kind of lengthy. But if you do put it in the show notes and make it available, we should probably include the link in all the podcast posts and all that kind of stuff for sure. Yeah. Then yeah, I think it's cool. This sounds like such a dope idea. I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm really excited that this is, you know, it's such a big season. And it's, I just want to, you know, we're just talking about the silly show. We're not doing anything necessarily important. We're having fun, but I'd love to kind of use that small platform to do something really meaningful. So we have a wonderful community who A, might want to help some cats, and B, might want to actually, you know, steal some Chizzy points. So you can do both. And I think that'll be really fun. But you're going to give out your actual Chizzy points that you didn't have to donate for today, Chappell. So who are your Chizzy points going to?
I am going to give 3 Chizzy points to Suri. I think that Suri comes out of this. First of all, look at her. But I think that in a vacuum, if you look at this and you say like somebody's got to go for tribe strength and all that stuff, Suri's name is always at the top of people's list for that, and she survives that. She also had to. I think Parvati is the number 1 person who should have gone home in this episode, and that would have been a good ally for Suri to lose. You know, she would have lost that ally, and that would have been awful for her. And she didn't. She did not lose that ally, and that's crazy to me. And so I think that Suri comes out of this in the best spot she could potentially ever be in, coming out of the first elimination. Like, I don't think there's another person who could have gone, like, it was either her or Rob or Parvati, and somehow she managed to keep her and Parvati in the game, you know, whatever the case may be. So she gets 3 of them. I think Parvati gets 2. I think that, yes, she made some mistakes, and so that's why I have to give her 2, but her back was against the wall. She was fighting for her life. She took down the big boss man, Rob Bentley, and I'm so proud of her and impressed. And yeah, I think you talk about Parvati's legacy as a Survivor player. I think her profile goes up even more after this episode. Like, she was already one of the GOATs, and then you see her working in this episode and trying all the tricks, you know. She's going to the women, she's using the eyes, she's doing all the things, all the Parvati she's on her play, she's deep in her playbook, and she came out alive, and I was just so shocked that it happened, and I'm happy. And then I gotta give 1 to Lisa, because Lisa really should probably get 3 too, but I can only give 3 to 1 person, and so like, Lisa, you'd understand I have to give them 3 this time. But the reason why I'm only giving Lisa 1 is because I don't agree with the move. I just don't think it was the right move. I think that although she was in control, this could have you know, like, Lisa could have been in a bad spot here. She's not, like you said, she's normal. She's not the biggest person out here. She's not to have a great like a huge profile and reputation amongst these people. But seeing her kind of in control was so dope that I have to give her some points. You know, I gotta give her something. So yeah, so I'm gonna go with 3, 2, and 1 in that order, and maybe even switch Parvati and Lisa if I think. No, because I think Lisa's in a worse spot than she was already in. So yeah, 3, 2, 1. That's
all right. Well, I'm gonna give 3 points to Suri as well. Lisa wants to work with her so badly, and not that that's what she did today, but that's just the body of work. You know, like, you gotta credit the person that Suri is. Yeah. And I completely get it. Like, she spoke for me through her. You know what I mean?
That's the coolest day.
Yeah. And especially because I don't really back the decision. Like, Suri does nothing wrong and gets her way in a way that there's nothing to criticize. I love her so much. No notes. Suri, take my kidney. Yeah. I will give 2 points to Lisa, which is kind of bold considering I don't agree with the move. But firstly, I love giving points to Suri and Lisa in a 3, 2, 1. It just feels right for both of them. Right. Secondly, I don't back the decision, but like, again, it doesn't exist in a vacuum. I think that's tough. I'm not like justifying it on that, but I just want to like point it out. I do think she's a power player in this tribe. She consolidated with Tommy and Cass. Even if the worlds lose the challenge now, and even if some like the US win over the internationals, like, I still think she's fine. So that's why I'm giving her 2 points, because again, as we said, we think it's worse for like a Tommy and maybe even a Cass. But I think Lisa's in the best spot of it. If she makes a different decision, I think she gets 3, but I don't back the decision. But I'm still giving her 2 here. Yeah, she's not a target. Her name's not brought up, even though she is physically weaker. I think she bonded really well with Suri. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff here. Yeah. I'm going to give a point to Tony, who we have not spoken much about, and that's a good thing. There's no game changes here. Look how low Tony is laying to the point where we really haven't spoken that much about him. Like, that's impressive. And he's also shielded by Suri and Parvati better than I hoped. I didn't know that they would come out and do that, and it's gone really well. And what a thrill to see Tony on my screen as well. I'm so happy about that. But that's not why he's getting the Chizzy point. But yeah, I can't give it to Parvati because I just thought the Dondie stuff was just not right. I don't blame her for the rest. But that was kind of a misstep for me. Tony doesn't do anything wrong here. Tony plays this perfectly. And we know that's not always the case when Tony starts off Survivor. Often it is, sometimes. Not always. So I'm very excited about that. There's not enough going on for Australia for me. I think Tommy and Cass aren't in the best spot. So there's kind of, that's it for me. That's it. Chappell, do you have any more? Anything else?
No. I mean, I could do this all day. I really could. Like, we could just break it down scene by scene, and I would be in heaven. But no, this was so much fun. I'm so happy I got to kick this off. I'm so excited to see what Mike and Puya think. But I'm shocked. You know, like I said, I wouldn't have never guessed that Rob Bentley would be going first. And so this season is already shaping up to be full of surprises, and I like that. I wanted to make sure that I could not predict what was happening. And now, I mean, we have the potential for a rock draw the very next episode, which is wild. You can get no idols, and we have idol hounds on this season. We have people who are known for wielding these things, and we couldn't find one. I love that. So yeah, tag me in. I'm happy to be here all season.
Yeah, well, I will be having an next interview with Rob at 5:45 my time.
Tell him I said hi.
12:45 PT, 3:45 a.m. ET. I could go on, but I won't. No, but we will be releasing those as they come out. And in the past, when we've had a few extra interviews, we kind of waited to the end of the week. These are just going to drop as I do them. So I'm hoping to have more this week as well. But at the moment, I definitely have Rob. I will say as well, there are a couple of great events next week that I want to shout out, both happening on Monday, the 25th. One in Sydney, one in Melbourne. So firstly, in Melbourne, I will say, huge promo from this because I do not live in Melbourne, but Eden Porter, wonderful Eden, who's often on the podcast, who was on Survivor Titan. He's doing his Survivor Debrief podcast live. They're having a watch party in Melbourne. There's going to be prizes, giveaways, trivia. Then we're going to record the podcast live with alumni after the episode. So that'll be fun. There's an Eventbrite link that I've retweeted. But if you go to Eden's social media, it'll be there. And yeah, that's next Monday night. And that's in Carlton in Melbourne. And then there's a event in Sydney that we have at the Zetland Hotel that Zach Sinclair does. And I think I'll probably be at that. Peter's very inconveniently having like a minor surgery next week. I'm like, really? In the middle of Australian Survivor, he'll be okay. But I'm hoping to make it to that regardless. That's the kind of wife that I am. That'll be at Zetland Hotel at Green Square Restaurant. Also Monday the 25th. I'll share that on social media as well for that, and there should hopefully be some past players coming to that to watch the episode. That'll both be for episode 5, so that's very fun. Otherwise, you should subscribe to WienerGlobalSurvivor.com. Follow me at Shannon Guss so you don't miss any of the content. We have the exit interview and hopefully more. We have the recap, Chappell tonight, Puya tomorrow, Mike on Tuesday, and then we will have Rob's weekly show coming out, usually Wednesdays ET, which is super fun. Thursdays for us in Australia, that'll come out. And the Chizzy Raffle. Email me, chizzyraffle@gmail.com with your donations. Donate a lot. Buy many, many raffle tickets. Win. Take the recap bitches Chizzy points. Give all the points to Suri. No, you have to give 3, 2, and 1 to different people. I will say that. Okay? Yeah. There's only so much I'll deface to Chizzy. But it'll be great. And you'll be in power if you win the raffle. And that's all I have, Chappell. I think that's it. I think that's all my plugs, I think.
Okay, well, check me out on Recap Kickback. That's my podcast, youtube.com/@RecapKickback. I've been seeing some Aussies over there on my content sometimes. I think y'all like me. Yeah, that's nice. I love y'all too. So please come subscribe, youtube.com/@RecapKickback, or subscribe to the podcast, recapkickback.com/subscribe, and follow me on all social media platforms @RecapKickback if you want to see what I'm doing and what I have going on. The Nothing But Netflix podcast, I'm hosting that every week. Brandon Donlin is joining me to talk about The Biggest Loser this week. So check that out. And then if you haven't been keeping up with the Big Brother coverage, what are you doing? We're doing that on RHAP, but I'm behind the paywall because Rob says I say things and I shouldn't say them. And that like his lawyer said that he can release the podcast if I say them. And so we have to put it behind the paywall so that at least if we get in trouble, we can use the money that we raised behind the paywall to pay for the lawyer. So it's all there on RHAP on We Know Big Brother / We Know RealityTV.com.
Yeah, that's it. If we've forgotten anything, we'll be back tomorrow night. After the episode with Puya, I will be back, and Chappell will be back next week when more legends will be gone. Chappell, we don't know what will be next week. We'll have lived lives before I speak to you next week. It's daunting.
Oh my God. The way I was stressed throughout this episode, to know that I have to do that 2 more times without being able to talk to you to decompress. And then we're going to be talking about a whole different cast by the time we get there. Like we don't even know what's going to happen between now and then. It's crazy. It's never felt like this before. So I'm excited to be on this journey with you and the rest of the Powerpuff Girls over there on my side.
Incredibly excited to be doing this. I also, we should thank.
We have to.
Yes, we got this incredible picture. I put it up on my Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Let me find it. Wow, this is great with the plugs, right? This is really, really good.
No, I believe it's at Klepto Clockers on Instagram.
Yeah, Jimmy Horner. Yeah, and he gave us this incredible picture. You can see here that's the me and the recap bitches, and he drew it. I love it so much. Thank you. We have the best listeners. We have the best global community. We're so lucky to be here experiencing this together. We're all so lucky. Let's just take a moment. It's wonderful. It's so exciting. It's so much fun. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Chappell. Thank you to our team behind the scenes. And I will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
This is RHAP. We Know Reality TV.